So this is the beginning of ushering us into the next eclipse season. Whatever it is that you're starting right now prior to the eclipses is subject to change. We're feeling that fated karmic synchronistic strangeness as we get closer and closer to the eclipse and as the energy builds. Hi everyone, Heather here with Astrology with Heather.com, and I'm back with another super exciting extended 2-week forecast. This one is for October 9th all the way through October 24th of 2022, the entire waning phase of the lunar cycle, beginning of course with the full moon in the sign of Aries, and this full moon is a bit of a doozy. This one is conjunct Chiron, which is the centaur, asteroid, dwarf planet, comet, whatever you want to call it, that is associated with our deepest wounds and vulnerabilities. That means that this full moon energy is going to be highlighting our deepest shame, guilt, vulnerabilities, insecurities. It's going to be highlighting past traumas. It's going to be highlighting psychological issues that have been buried beneath the surface that need to be brought up into the open. But it's also going to be providing opportunities for us to heal ourselves once and for all, to overcome any issues that have been lingering and holding us back from taking initiative in our lives, from doing the things that we want to do, from exercising our willpower, which is that Aries energy. And so this is actually a very powerful, positive energy that can have lasting healing impacts for years and years and years to come, especially because the full moon will be in a sextile with Saturn. Also, this is the beginning of ushering us into the next eclipse season. That's right, we're already there. This full moon is 2 weeks out from the upcoming solar eclipse that'll be happening on the 25th of October. And so this is a big energy. We're kind of already in that eclipse zone. We're feeling that fated karmic synchronistic strangeness as we get closer and closer to the eclipse and as the energy builds. And speaking of which, I just want to mention that because we're back in eclipse season, my Karmic Power of Eclipses free webinar is back. You can access that down in the description below. This is my gift to you because I want you to learn how to use astrology for yourself so you don't have to rely on other people to do it for you. This webinar goes through everything you need to know about the eclipses in your birth chart and in transit, so that way you can navigate this coming eclipse season super successfully. And again, free gift down in the description below. You can find that there. And so we are kind of entering into that zone, though, that eclipse zone, where fate steps in and starts to guide us on a new path. We might start to feel some strangeness. We might start to have some shifts that are starting to occur in our lives, especially during certain activation periods. We might start to feel that energy building, especially toward the tail end of this next couple of weeks here. The end of this waning phase of the cycle near the 24th, you're really going to be feeling that eclipse energy, because we'll be full on in the eclipse zone. And so eclipse season is here. It's already started. And so prepare for change, because that's what the eclipses bring. They bring fated, disruptive changes that can turn us upside down, that can throw our lives into a completely new direction. But these are changes that were meant to happen. These are changes that we came into this lifetime knowing, on some level, that this needed to happen, or that these changes needed to occur, because it's a part of our soul's growth and evolution. And so we'll talk about that a lot more in 2 weeks when we get into the forecast for the eclipse. But in the meantime, just know that we're already there. We're already in it. You're going to start to feel some shifts, and just know that you also cannot necessarily control what the eclipses are doing, and you're not going to see the whole picture of what the eclipses are bringing until after the eclipse has passed on the 25th, because an important nugget of insight, some important information, an important clue that we need to kind of put the whole picture, all the pieces together of the puzzle, it's being eclipsed, it's being hidden. And so there's going to be an aspect of this that we can't quite put our finger on, or that we don't know just yet. So, before you jump in all crazy into something new, just know that there are pieces that you can't see just yet, and that whatever it is that you're starting right now prior to the eclipses is subject to change. And so we're coming into this full moon energy. We're coming into this powerful illumination of our wounds and the things that need to heal and that we need to heal from as we enter into the eclipse season. So it's almost as if we have to deal with something internally in order to create space or allow for the external changes to unfold in their proper order, in the way that they were meant to, in the way that they were destined to happen. And that's a big part of what's coming up in these next couple of weeks. And so we'll get into the next 2 weeks in greater detail. But before we get into that, I just want to mention, for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Heather Eland. I'm a professional astrologer and an astrology teacher. And one of the things that I love to do and that I'm super passionate about is teaching astrology and sharing it with as many people as possible so you can be empowered to become your own astrologer. Learning astrology is a life-changing experience. It tears apart all of your prior paradigms. Everything you thought you once knew is subject to that change. And, you know, it's very important to me that I share this with as many people as possible, which is why I created my Astrology 101 PDF guide for free for you to download right now, so you can get started with understanding your signs, planets, houses, aspects in your own chart, so you can understand better what I'm talking about in these free forecast videos that I do for you every week, and so you can get those first steps out of the way toward becoming your own astrologer. And so again, that PDF guide is down in the description below. And also, the way that I structure these videos is I start with a 5 to 10 minute general overview of the energy for the next 2 weeks. Please don't skip this, because it does provide an important overview and context for what we'll be getting into more deeply in the forecast for all 12 signs. Speaking of which, when we do get into the forecast for all 12 signs, make sure you listen to your rising sign, your sun sign, and your moon sign to get a more holistic overview of the energy for the next 2 weeks. Your rising sign is the most predominant energy, your sun sign will be secondary, and your moon sign is important to listen to as well, although this energy will be more internalized and subjective. Finally, at the end of every video, I do a 2 to 3 minute overview of next week's or the next 2 weeks energy, and this one's going to be about the eclipse, you guys, so you want to stick around until the end so you don't miss that. Also, hit that subscribe button and share this with your friends if you feel like they could benefit from the information that I am sharing with you this week. All right, back into it. We're entering into eclipse season. We have a full moon conjunct Chiron. That full moon conjunct Chiron is going to be in sextile with Saturn and in opposition with Venus. This is going to be kind of, it's going to be shadowing, like putting a shadow, or like not like a dark energy, but it's going to be overshadowing, I should say, the energy that is really predominant right now during Libra season around relationships, and pulling us into focusing on ourselves, our own internal needs, and our own need to heal. This could also have us coming into our own power as healers in our own right, and that could show up for a lot of people, especially those of you who have strong Aries energy in your chart. This could be an illumination of your need to kind of come into your power as a healer, as somebody who can show others the way. It's kind of like you've been through some sort of trial or some sort of difficulty in your life, and you're seeing now how you can take action to engage with this in a very positive way, to step into a leadership role, to motivate others to heal in the same way that you've healed yourself. And so that's a big part of this energy for a lot of people, and we'll talk about that more in the forecast for all 12 signs. But this is also going to be kind of a weird energy in the next couple of weeks here. We have a few different things. It's like a mixed bag of energy, as I like to say. So on October 9th, we have the full moon conjunct Chiron. There's good to it. I know it's Chiron. It's going to feel super awkward. It's not going to feel comfortable, but there's positive to this energy for sure. After that, on October 11th, we have Mars squaring Neptune. You all know how much I dislike Mars square Neptune. I have this in my own chart. Not the nicest energy. It can be very difficult to understand and take hold of. We see a lot of very strange, very sometimes violent world events that come up around these Mars squares, conjunctions, oppositions to Neptune. And on a personal level, you know, we could have some interpersonal exchanges that are very unkind or very, it's almost like, especially because being in the mutable signs with Mars being in Gemini, it's kind of like there's not just two sides to the situation. If there is an argument or a dispute that comes up around this time period, it's like there's like 20 different sides and you don't know which side to stand on. You don't know which side is the right side. You don't know what's the truth and what's real. And typically with this energy, the truth is not one particular aspect of this. It's kind of like a glob of everything mixed together. It's somewhere in the middle of that spectrum. And with that Gemini square to that Mars and Gemini square to Neptune, it's kind of like we launch forward into the wrong thing, or we choose the wrong path, or we choose the wrong side because we are confused by all of the different options. And so this is not a very good time for taking decisive action. This is actually a time where that energy is going to come back and forth because Mars will actually be going retrograde in Gemini, where we jump into or move forward into something that is not right because we are confused. We're initiating something out of a state of confusion or illusion or delusion, where we're not seeing things clearly. We're not understanding the situation. We're just kind of doing it on impulse. And that's going to kind of backfire on a lot of us and a lot of people. So just be aware of what it is that you're jumping forward into, and be aware, especially around the 11th, of those things, because you might have to go back and change them and redo it and relaunch it, restart it during the Mars retrograde, after the Mars retrograde. And we're going to be talking about that in our video next week in super great detail. This is a huge energy at the end of this year, but this is kind of, yeah, this is something where something that we're jumping into isn't going to stick, and it's could backfire and could cause a lot of just weird energy and weird results to occur. After that, though, we have Mercury opposing Jupiter on the 12th, which is actually really great for communication and for discernment and for our brains to be really online, with Mercury in its home and exaltation sign of, Mercury is going to be in the sign of Libra there, which is actually going to give us a really balanced viewpoint of anything that we want to kind of weigh out, any decisions that we need to make. However, it can stall us out from actually making the right decision. Again, there's that energy coming up again. Jupiter in the mix, though, does help us to see the bigger picture. It helps us to see things more clearly. It helps us to say things in the right way, so that way it's really well received. That's a big thing with that Mercury in Libra. And with that Jupiter energy, we have the ability to articulate difficult information, to express ourselves in a way that's going to be taken really nicely by other people, where it's kind of like, I have this thing I have to tell you, I don't really know how to put this is difficult for me, but here it is. And the person's like, oh, that's fine. And you're like super relieved. That's kind of what this energy brings about. And then we have Venus going Cazimi. So Venus is going to be at the heart or the seat or the throne of the sun on October 22nd. You can check your local time zone for that exact conjunction to kind of find the window for that. But this is a really great time for relationships in general. They're elevated. This could also be something that's being elevated related to material issues or finance. However, Venus is actually going to be combust most of the time. So it's almost like there's something difficult going on with those issues before and after that Cazimi period. And then the Cazimi period kind of illuminates a solution, or illuminates kind of the bright side of things, if that makes sense. So it is weird. And also on the same day as the Cazimi, we have Saturn stationing to go direct in square with Uranus. This will all be triggered during the eclipses, especially the eclipse that's happening in November. And so, it's dicey. It's dicey. There's some restrictive, burdensome, limiting energy that's coming in that's really going to be pressing and weighing on us around this time. There is this energy of like relationships and financial and material matters, and maybe issues pertaining to women, kind of like on a grander scale, where it's not going so well. But then that Cazimi brings up like the light at the end of the tunnel, or some sort of solution, or some sort of negotiation, right? Especially with that Venus energy. where you can find a middle ground. You can find a way to collaborate with people that you maybe view as the enemy or the opposition in some way. And so that can actually be quite nice, where if you look for that moment and if you look for that opportunity, you can find solutions. So it's kind of, yeah, it's a weird mix of energy. We're going to have some really, really positive moments and some really elevated experiences here and there, but there's also going to be a lot of strangeness and very strange circumstances that are coming up. I would say on a more societal and global level, as well as on a personal level, especially for those of you who have a lot of mutable energy or a lot of fixed energy. And so we'll get into that in just a second in the forecast for all 12 signs, beginning of course with Aries and Aries rising. For Aries and for Aries rising, this is a full moon in your sign, and this is a big healing opportunity for you. This could be where you heal through an old issue, a karmic situation, or something that's been weighing on you for quite some time, once and for all. This could also be you coming into your own as a healer very directly, where you are leading others through the healing process in the same way that you've gone through it yourself. This is a really powerful moment where any lasting feelings of shame, guilt, vulnerability, insecurity, awkwardness around who you are, the way you show up in the world, your physical appearance or body even, are going to be illuminated. They're going to be highlighted. You're going to feel it a little bit more, but you're also going to understand the path toward healing through these things and letting them go so you can move on, so you can feel more empowered, so you can heal on all levels. So this is a very important and powerful full moon, especially if you're in Aries, sun, moon, or rising, anywhere around 16 degrees in that sign. This is also a time where, you know, you could be healing through relationship or friendship issues, especially, or issues around maybe social anxiety or social awkwardness or insecurity in social situations. And you could, again, have this come through in a way where it's long-lasting, long-standing, and you're healing these issues, again, once and for all. And so this is really powerful. In terms of the opposite end of this, where Venus is going to be combust and then going cazimi on the 22nd of October. This is really where there's going to be there's a blockage right now to your ability to achieve harmony, equilibrium, and balance, literally in relationships, contracts, agreements, negotiations, one-on-one situations of all kinds. On the 22nd of October, you'll have a period where the answers, the solutions, the path toward collaboration and harmony in those connections can be illuminated for you. You'll be able to achieve that, that interconnectedness that you desire. You might even have some material benefits that'll come through your relationships, so long as you are able to directly take hold of the opportunities as they present themselves. For Taurus and for Taurus rising. So for Taurus, this is happening in your 12th house, this full moon in the sign of Aries. There's something deep that's been kind of sitting, there's something deep that's been hidden beneath the surface that is connected to an issue from your past or even a past life that could be brought up that's causing you maybe some psychological issues. Maybe it's causing you to feel isolated or alone in some way. Maybe there's feelings of anxiety or listlessness that are coming up for you. Whatever it is that comes up around the time of this full moon, it's going to be running really deep. It's going to be much more internal than external. And this is a time where the path to healing will be illuminated. This for you is going to be more of a spiritual healing than an external healing. This is going to be something that's more connected to your soul's path and your spirit, as opposed to being connected to your external physical world. This could also just be that you're thrown into a small period of isolation that causes you to have to reflect on something, and that's going to be a deep healing process. This would actually be a really great time to do something like past life regression or hypnosis or something along those lines to uncover issues from your past and past lives that are still sitting there and still causing issues for you in the present. This could also like illuminate something or help you with accessing something related to your career path that has been restricted or limited for you in some way as a result of going deep, as a result of these healing practices that you might be doing at this time. Later on, and especially as we come toward the 22nd of October, we are going to have on the opposite end Venus combust and then going cazimi. And so right now there's some sort of blockage to harmony and equilibrium in your workplace, when it comes to your health, when it comes to your daily routines, when it comes to your interactions with your coworkers or your employees, where you can't quite get that balance or that communication or that reciprocity that you desire. Around the time of the Venus cazimi on the 22nd of October, you're going to find the path, you're going to find the opportunity to create that harmony, to create that equilibrium that you desire in these areas of your life. Okay, and then for Gemini and for Gemini rising, this full moon is happening in your 11th house. And so this is going to be a deep healing in a very positive way around friendships, group associations, social networks, people that you surround yourself with by choice. Socializing in general is ruled by this house. And so this is going to help you to overcome any social awkwardness, any guilt, shame, vulnerability, or insecurity that you have within yourself around social situations in general. Or this could be you coming into your own as a healer and working with a group of people in some sort of healing modality, or as part of a group. Maybe you're not leading or facilitating, but this would be a really great time for like group therapy, group counseling, some sort of spiritual healing in a group format. And so all of these things are available to you, and I think would work quite well for you around the time of this full moon. There could also be some healing through specifically like an educational program or something like that, or you could be taking on a group educational program that's geared toward healing or the healing arts. If that's the case, this is going to be something that will provide long-lasting benefits for many, many years to come, or it could even be traveling for healing or something like that. But again, the benefits to this are long-lasting. It'll change your paradigm, it'll change your mindset, it'll change your worldview, and that will be a good thing. This is also going to be on the opposite end of the spectrum, a blockage to harmony and equilibrium, to obtaining the balance that you desire, or accessing the ability to tap into your desires, because this is Venus combust in your 5th house, which is the house of pleasure, joy, things that you do because you want to do them and because you love to do them. There's a blockage here to fully embracing that energy, fully embracing the need to experience pleasure and joy and fun and happiness just for the sake of it. At the time of the Venus cazimi, something will be illuminated for you that will help you to create a better balance, that will help you to tap into the things that you love. On the 22nd, this would be a really great day for you to intentionally engage in something that you love just because you love it, not because it has any purpose outside of that. And so that's what's going on for Gemini. For Cancer and for Cancer rising, so for Cancers, this full moon is happening in your 10th house, which is the house of career and public reputation. There is a past wound, trauma, psychological issue, or psychological blockage that is making you feel uncomfortable, awkward, not good enough, maybe vulnerable or insecure in some way around your career, around your public standing, around what it is that you put out there in the world at large, or around your relationship with people who are successful or people who you view as authority figures. This is a time where you can heal through that, right? You can work through that. This would actually be a really great time also if you are somebody in a healing profession to put yourself out there more, even if you don't feel ready, even if you don't feel secure in yourself, because you're going to be able to lead, motivate, and help a lot of people through doing that. This could also be healing through an issue psychologically, emotionally, or even physically that is preventing you from accessing the resources that you should be accessing or that you should have access to through your career path. There's something that's blocking or putting a strain or a burden on that area, and part of that needs to be healed, and part of that is psychological. And so that's kind of what's coming up for Cancer. On the opposite end, there's something going on that's blocking you from obtaining equilibrium, harmony, deep connection when it comes to your family, your home, or even your property. There could be something that is preventing you from getting, like, negotiating a contract or an agreement with property, or beautifying your home in some way. Whatever it is that's blocking you in that area, on the 22nd of October, you have the opportunity that will come up for you to obtain the harmony that you deserve and that you desire in this area, so long as you recognize it and so long as you take hold of it. It can improve your relationships with your family. It can improve your home life. It can create a better balance behind the scenes, but you have to, again, take that opportunity and run with it. All right, for Leo and for Leo rising. So for Leo, this full moon is happening in your 9th house, which is the house of travel, adventure, higher education, experiential knowledge and learning. This is a time where something is going to be illuminated. So there's kind of like this could actually be a really great time for you, Leo, to either finish or wrap up, or even to share something like educational wise when it comes to like healing. So it could be that you're, going to school for something that is considered a healing art, or maybe you have some sort of insecurity around sharing your perspective with the world at large. And this full moon is highlighting that, and it's forcing you to go out there and to speak your truth, to say what you need to say, to share the information that you need to teach, to impart wisdom on others. And so this could be a really great energy for that. This also is a really great time to improve your relationships through connecting with your integrity and healing through any wounds that are preventing you from fully embracing that. The other thing that's going on here on the opposite end is that there could be some sort of strain or some sort of energy that's shadowing or causing you to not be able to tap into harmony, equilibrium, balance, or just really good one-on-one connections or relationships in your community, with your neighbors, in your immediate environment, or just through communication in general. This is a time around October 22nd where you can have an opportunity to heal through that, to have better communication, to have better connections, and find the balance that you desire when it comes to your community, when it comes to your neighbors, when it comes to that immediate environment that's around where you literally are. And just in general, this is a time where you could have better communication, because it's kind of like there's some weirdness there. It could also be there's a lack of balance or harmony or equilibrium, or maybe a lack of reciprocity when it comes to your family relationships, especially your siblings and extended family members. And again, the 22nd is a time to tap into opportunities to work through and work with that energy. For Virgo and for Virgo rising. So for Virgo, the full moon's happening in your 8th house, which is a deep psychological house. And this is a deep psychological energy that's being highlighted and brought out into the open, where it's normally very hidden or kept under wraps. This is Chiron transiting through that house, right? And so this is pulling up deep psychological wounds, vulnerabilities, traumas that are lasting from your past and causing fear and preventing you actually from doing the things that you want to do. Because when you have these fears that are not based in the current moment, when they're based in the past, then they're kind of controlling you in a lot of ways. And so this is you empowering yourself to take back control by healing through any old wounds, any old insecurities, any old vulnerabilities that are tied to the past that are not relevant in the present. This could also be you healing through insecurities or difficulties around money, especially joint finances. If you have an awkwardness or a shame around that, it could even be like a shame around tapping into your partner's resources or allowing other people to help you financially or physically when you need it. And that could be healed through this process. And then also what we have going on here on the opposite end is Venus, which is combust in a conjunction with the sun. And, this is going to be going cazimi on October 22nd. So there's a lack of, or a blockage to creating balance, harmony, equilibrium, or tapping into your full potential on a material, very financial level that could be overcome, or an opportunity could come up that could create better harmony and better balance for you in this area around the 22nd, where if you take hold of that and run with it, it's going to have lasting effects that's going to benefit you in a variety of different ways, not just with your financial situation, but maybe physically with your health, or with your work and your satisfaction with your work and your workload. And so you want to make sure that you're keeping an eye out for that. For Libra and for Libra rising. So for Libra, this full moon is happening in your 7th house, which is the house of relationships. This is where you need to kind of work on healing through old wounds, old insecurities, old vulnerabilities, awkwardness, shame, trauma as it relates to interpersonal connections and relationships with others, romantic or otherwise. This full moon is going to bring it out into the open, in your face. You're going to see it, but you're also going to have the opportunity to work on it, work through it, and heal once and for all. And this is going to be a long-lasting impact that this will make on you, especially if you're a Libra sun, moon, or rising anywhere around 16 degrees. This is going to impact you the most. I would say that, you know, if you are having like marital issues or relationship issues in general right now, which Chiron can bring up, this is going to help bring it out into the open in a way where it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's like an airing of grievances, but it could be sort of like that, but where it's like an airing of like, hey, this is actually how I feel about this. It might not be connected to what you're doing in the moment, but it is connected to something that's deep within me. And, you know, this is something that's triggering and I just wanted you to know about it. Like that kind of thing where it's like, this isn't on you, it's on me, but I need you to know. And once that's out there, you're going to be able to heal through it together as a couple. And so I think this is actually a really beautiful energy, even though it might be uncomfortable to kind of sit through that and work through those situations. The other thing that's going on here is that there's something that's blocking you from achieving harmony, balance, equilibrium on a personal level, or from tapping into your ability to just be seen, be recognized, be appreciated at your full potential and full capacity, to receive the love, appreciation, and reciprocity that you deserve for what it is that you're putting out there in the world. If this is the case and you're feeling like that, just know that on October 22nd, there'll be an opportunity for you to tap into this harmony, this equilibrium, where you're going to feel much more beautiful, you're going to feel much more empowered, you're going to feel much more desirable, and people are going to be much more drawn to you. So take advantage of that energy while it's there. You know, use it wisely. For Scorpio and for Scorpio rising, this full moon is happening in your 6th house, which is the house of health, work, and daily routines. And so very literally, this could be a health issue that's being illuminated for you, where you have to like look at it, stare it straight in the face, and do something about it. There is a psychological, emotional, or you know, maybe even a spiritual component to whatever it is that you're dealing with physically that will be brought up, and it'll be in your face, shining bright. You can't ignore it, and that will help you to work through it and to heal through it. Some of that could be tied to karmic issues involving your ancestry, your lineage, your parents, your family, your early childhood, and this could be a long-lasting healing that you could go through, and this would be a really great time to seek out healing from a qualified practitioner of your choice. I am not one of those, so this is not medical advice, but this is a good time for you to seek healing. And also on the opposite end, there's something that's kind of on a subconscious internal level blocking you from feeling a sense of balance, equilibrium, and harmony on that internal level, where you're feeling kind of off kilter and you don't exactly know why or how to explain it. That's something that is going to be a little bit deep. It's like a place where you need to kind of do some introspection and some self-exploration. But on October 22nd, something can come up or bubble up from your subconscious realm that could help you achieve that balance and equilibrium. And that could even reverberate over into the house of health and physicality, so you can have healing through that experience as well. For Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, So for Sagittarius, this full moon is happening in your 5th house, which is the house of joy and love and spontaneity and desire. It's also the house of children. And so if you have some sort of guilt, shame, vulnerability, awkwardness, or trauma around children in general, or some difficulty with your own children, or maybe your children have, you know, something that's going on where they need healing, they need to kind of, there's something that you need to work on with them, or that they need to work on, and you can help them through that. You can see them through that at the time of this full moon much more easily, because the path is clear. The path is very apparent. This is also where you can heal through any guilt around just enjoying yourself and loving to do the things that you love to do, and doing things just because they're pleasurable and they're fun and they bring you joy, because that's what this Chiron energy in your 5th house might be presenting with, is like, I feel guilty for doing something just for me. I feel guilty for doing something because I love to do it. And you know what? At the time of this full moon, you'll be done with that. You'll be like, nope, I'm doing it because I love it. On the opposite end of this, there is the Venus Cazimi, or Venus Combust, which is going Cazimi on October 22nd. This is creating kind of a blockage to achieving harmony and equilibrium in the area of group associations, networks, friendships, where you're not quite getting along quite right, or you're not quite seeing eye to eye, or you're not able to collaborate or get the reciprocity that you're looking for in your friendships and in your social connections right now. However, on the 22nd of October, there will be an opportunity for you to actually do that, and things will become much more balanced and harmonious in those relationships. And so use that energy wisely. For Capricorn and for Capricorn rising, this full moon is happening in your 4th house, which is the house of home, family, property, and real estate. And so this could be illuminating some sort of family issue that's being brought out into the open so that we can heal through it. Chiron in the 4th house could be bringing up guilt, shame, vulnerability, or insecurity about your past, about your family, about your early childhood experience. It could bring up ancestral wounds, or the need for some sort of ancestral healing, or it could just bring up some sort of vulnerability around your home or your living situation that needs to be addressed, that needs to be illuminated, that needs to be worked through, especially when it comes to financial issues pertaining to your home or your living situation or your family situation. These can be addressed and healed through once and for all, and you could even be the one that's illuminating the path to healing for your family members around the time of this full moon in Aries. On the opposite end, there's something that's blocking you from achieving balance, equilibrium, harmony, or from getting the recognition that you deserve when it comes to your career and your public status in the workplace. And you know, this combust Venus energy is a big part of that, and it's going to be going Cazimi on October 22nd. And this is a time where an opportunity can come up for you to get the recognition you deserve, the help you need, and the reciprocity that you desire when it comes to your career, or when it comes to what it is that you're putting out there into the open for the world at large. For Aquarius and Aquarius rising. For Aquarius, this full moon is happening in your 3rd house, which is the house of communication, but it's the house of education, it's the house of marketing, it's the house of writing, it's the house of short distance travel. It's also the house of siblings and extended family members, your neighbors, your neighborhood, and your community. And I would say that especially in those areas, there could be some sort of healing that needs to occur. Maybe there is some sort of wound in your community and you're going to step up and help to heal it. Maybe there's some sort of rift between you and your extended family or your siblings, and you know, you're going to step up and heal it, or it's being illuminated where it's like, I actually need to address this. There could also be some sort of wound or insecurity around your communication, or some sort of information that you feel like you need to share. And if that's the case, it's going to come up and you're going to hopefully be healing through it and working through it and sharing what you need to share with the world, because you know, it could be a message that could help to heal others as well. The other side of this spectrum is where there could be a blockage to harmony, equilibrium, toward balance, toward, you know, getting what you want in that area of travel, of travel, of higher education, of your perspective. Actually, this could be a blockage to having a balanced perspective on reality, on life. This could be a blockage to having harmony or equilibrium when it comes to your philosophies, your worldviews, your religious ideologies, where all of a sudden something comes up around October 22nd that changes your mind or shifts your perspective so you have a little bit more of a balanced viewpoint. And that could actually be a pretty important life-changing experience, especially for those of you who have Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising anywhere around 16 degrees. You're going to be feeling this in a very long-lasting and very in a way that changes who you are or the way that you present yourself out in the world at more of a core level. This could also be an opportunity for travel, especially travel with someone or to see someone specific, and that could come up around October 22nd as well. And finally, for Pisces and for Pisces rising. For Pisces, this full moon is happening in your second house. This is where you're healing through money wounds. This is where you're healing through like anything that has damaged or created a kind of an off-kilter mindset around finances. This is where you're healing your money mindset. You're healing through past traumas, wounds, insecurities around money and finances and resources in general. And I mean, this is going to be a long-lasting impact. This is going to help you for many, many years to come. Something could come up here in this area of finances that could feel uncomfortable, that could feel very awkward, or you could feel ashamed about in the moment. But working through it and looking at it and addressing it is going to make a world of difference for you. On the opposite end, there is something that's blocking you from achieving harmony, equilibrium, or balance when it comes to other people's money, when it comes to debt, when it comes to joint finances, when it comes to taxes, insurance, inheritance, all of these things that are 8th house topics where you're not quite able to create the stability or the harmony that you're looking for around this time period. However, Venus will go Cazimi on October 22nd, and so if there's an area that's imbalanced with your financial situation, especially those joint financial issues that I just talked about, this is a time where opportunities can come up for you to work through it, for you to find balance, find equilibrium, find a middle ground, find a solution, or find somebody who can help you with your finances, or just balance your budget. That could be a big thing too. And so that's what's going on for Pisces there. This is also where there's maybe a lack of balance or equilibrium on a psychological level, where you're feeling a little off kilter in that way. Maybe you're feeling anxious, maybe you're feeling a little unsettled. October 22nd brings an opportunity for you to settle that energy as well, maybe to reach out to somebody for healing, or to reach out to a therapist, or reach out to somebody that you trust and you can confide in to help you work through whatever's going on a deeper psychological issue. Or a deeper psychological level. And so that's what's going on for Pisces. So in the next 2 weeks, we're going to be getting into the full-blown eclipse season. We're already in it, but this is going to be when the eclipse actually happens. And the first eclipse in the series is going to be a partial solar eclipse in a conjunction with Venus, which is combust and in its fall. And so this is going to be kind of a big energy here. So this solar eclipse is going to be with the South Node in the sign of Scorpio. This is not going to be the nicest energy for relationships. This is not going to be the nicest energy financially on a global scale, or, you know, if there's something on a personal level you're trying to do around that time. The energy is kind of turbulent and unpredictable in that area. So you do want to make note of that. I don't love this for material matters of any kind. And this could also be, you know, a strain on relationships for certain people. It's going to definitely change some things, like on a material and on a relationship level. A lot is going to be up for change when it comes to this particular partial solar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. This is also going to be where the North Node on the opposite end is in a conjunction with Uranus, which brings even more chaotic, unpredictable change energy into the mix. It's squaring Saturn. This could be the beginning, honestly, of some sort of financial disaster. I don't want to, you know, scare anyone or anything like that. It's probably not going to be at the craziest of levels, but there's something going on here where it's like, it looks turbulent. I don't love it. So, yeah, it's not my favorite eclipse. These next two eclipses are not my favorite eclipses, but I do think that what they're going to do is bring us the change that we need through shaking us out of complacency, because this is in the fixed sign energy. So anything that we thought was stable, anything we thought was going to stand the test of time and be there forever, that we've become complacent with, even though it's not really working to our highest benefit, it's not really bringing us to our highest potential, but hey, we're comfortable and it's getting us by. Like that type of stuff is what's going to break away for us on a societal level and on an individual level as well. And so it can be very exciting for that reason specifically. And so we'll see what comes up, and I will go into great detail about this in 2 weeks time. And in between that, I'm going to be getting into the Mars retrograde in Gemini energy. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.